Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and this is a look at the new salvaging updates for Elite Dangerous. In the background you can see the concept work for the original salvaging mechanics that were shown during the Kickstarter period of the game in 2012 and 2013. This is what Frontier were initially aiming for. Hopefully it's what we're going to get. The mechanics are now in the game, but they're not quite to that level yet. In fact, 1.4 has a new damage model for the Anaconda, and although currently bugged, it does reflect the concept we just saw. For now, we've got salvageable wreckage instances, which are much like the unidentified signal sources you can find in the game up until this point. What do they contain? Well, we're going to have a look. These instances spawn as you're flying around in Super Cruise. They don't seem to be that common. I was flying around for quite a long time before I actually managed to find one. You can also get missions that are attached to them, although again these missions spawn on the bulletin board randomly, and unfortunately I wasn't able to find one of those. If you can get a mission, effectively they act as a salvage permit, at least for the moment. It seems pretty obvious that's a placeholder mechanic for the moment, but what it allows you to do is get legal salvage. If you come to these areas without a mission, as I've done, then the salvage is going to be illegal, as with any other salvage you find. So here, these are salvageable wreckages. We don't really have wreckages, at least not like the wreckages in the footage I showed right at the start of the video. What we've got here is debris. I'm not sure what sort of ship this is. I've seen debris before. They're available in the weak signal sources usually, and they usually look very much like clippers. So not sure what type of ship this is. It looks like it could possibly be one of the federal type of ships. What do you think? So whilst for the moment we've only got debris here and not full on wreckages, I don't think we should be too disappointed, because it seems to me that Frontier is slowly implementing the stages necessary to get to full on salvaging piece by piece. I reckon before long we will have full wreckages. But I can't base that on anything other than my own optimism and the past nearly 2 years of experience of how Frontier introduced new gameplay elements to the game. We can see then on the radar here that we've got just one bit of cargo here that we can salvage. It's obviously dropped out of the ship that was exploded here, or that was destroyed. Whatever happened to it, we don't know. I guess we'll never know. And it is an occupied cryopod. Now that is really interesting. It's interesting because it hints at some further future content, which again goes back to how I was saying Frontier tend to introduce gameplay mechanics. Now here is some concept art of how people are going to salvage these sort of areas. You can see the debris field in the background, and you can see a person here. Now essentially there's only one thing that's going to be in an occupied cryopod. A cryopod is something that people go into when they want to go into stasis. Stasis is a state of sleep, allowing people to go on long journeys. Now there's some interesting lore behind this. It's very rare for people to actually go into stasis when they want to travel. People with money won't do it, because obviously when they're asleep they've got no say in where they go or what happens to them while they're in stasis. So most people prefer to go on passenger ships. Obviously those are people with money, as going on such trips is very expensive. This is where such ships as the Beluga, the Dolphin and the Orca, all passenger class ships, actually come into play. Cryopods actually play a piece in that particular bit of lore, and potentially in that type of gameplay. They are what people who don't have much money use. Those who can't afford to be regular passengers end up going into stasis, going into cryopods and being transported as cargo. Now obviously that carries a significant risk, because while you're asleep anything can happen to you, and this is one of the most common ways that people end up sold into slavery. They get loaded up as cargo and then taken by a nefarious pilot to a black market and sold on as slavery, making probably a huge profit in the process. Or as has happened here, the poor guy ends up vented into space, where someone like me collects him. As you can see there, I was looking on the galaxy map for a black market, because this is illicit cargo as it says down in the bottom there, and I'm going to go to the station and sell him and see how much I get for him. So based on that bit of information, the lore there, and the occupied cryopod, I might be adding that 2 and 2 and coming up with 5, but my opinion is that this is the first step towards two big elements of gameplay, and that is full on salvaging as well as passenger missions. There are potentially some overlaps between those two particular types of gameplay. We also know that patch 1.5 is tentatively called ships, and will bring with it all the other passenger ships. And although Frontier sometimes do things that don't make sense, it won't make much sense at all to have 3 passenger class ships in the game with no ability to carry passengers. So really I guess we just have to wait and see. But that's my thoughts on the matter at any rate. The station looks a little bit bright here, probably because I'm using EDFX. Throughout beta I've been swapping between a bunch of graphic mods just to give them a test and see how they'll work. They do seem to be a lot more stable now. I know some people had trouble with Sweet FX and Reshade causing the game to crash, and I haven't found any problems with beta, so that's a good step. So let's see, contacts and black market. I don't suppose we'll get too much for it, so yeah, just 3,000. Might not seem a lot, but 3,000 credits is about the amount of profit you can make per unit on a really good trade route. So if you can find a whole bunch of cargo like that, it would be quite a good bit of money. Looking at the bulletin board, I probably should have come here first, but this is where I would be able to collect a salvage mission, which would have made that cargo legal, and I could have handed in the guy to someone here. But it would seem this is just a smuggling mission. Don't seem to be able to find any salvageable missions at all, unless they're down here on the unobtainable section, which I don't seem to be the case. So as I said right at the start, finding these salvage missions at the moment at least seems to be quite hard. Another smuggling mission. Well, not to worry. Now while we're here on the bulletin board, there is one other change to 1.4 that I will quickly show you, or two actually. One is on the side there, you've got an icon showing which major faction the mission belongs to, if any. If it hasn't got an icon, then it's just for a minor faction. And here is the other one, the other change. You can open the mission straight to the galaxy map, and this shows where the mission is located, which makes things a lot easier than they were previously. You can see there the system is highlighted. So there we have it, salvageable Wreckages instances. Although not too much addition in the way of content at the moment, they do hint at quite a lot for the future changes for the game. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.